Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, Wilson, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson. I don't think that's really arguable. And then I said the next 6 we could debate. I have Matt Ryan in and I don't have Dak. Well, Matt Ryan's been an MVP and he's gotten to a Super Bowl. Dak's won a playoff game. But I said the second 6 are varied. I had in Lamar, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Jimmy G, Matt Ryan, Kyler Murray. And I didn't have Dak in, which, listen, if you have Dak in, I'm not going to yell and scream. Matt Ryan has been an MVP and gotten to a Super Bowl and led a Super Bowl with about 10 minutes ago. And by the way, Garoppolo, in his one full season starting, got to a Super Bowl. But I said the next 6 is, you could argue with me. It's all debatable. Cleveland fans were outraged. Not just that Baker didn't make the second 6. Many said he should have made the first 6.
Oh,
and I'm
come
like, oh, crazy town. Oh, crazy town. So today is line in the sand day. We're going to play Mayfield or the field. For the next 5 years, who would I rather have?
Okay.
Next 5 years. So that will take, obviously, Breeze, no.
Right.
Next 5 years, Mayfield or the field. Here we go.
All right, Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson's won 80% of his games. Lamar Jackson does something better than any football quarterback in the history of the sport. Moves. This is not close.
Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert?
Not a GM in the league would take Baker over Justin Herbert. He's bigger. He's stronger. He was a 4-point student. He set every rookie quarterback touchdown record they've ever created. Herbert by a mile.
Baker Mayfield or Derek Carr?
Last 2 years, Derek Carr is 101 passer rating. 3 times the TDs over picks. It ain't close. Derek Carr.
Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Now, this is the rub, right? Oh, Jimmy gets hurt a lot. I'm not disputing that. And that worries me. But the Niners are awful without him, and we know their roster's good and Shanahan's good. I'd take Garoppolo for the next 5 years and roll the dice on his health.
Baker Mayfield or Matt Ryan?
MVP, Super Bowl, multiple playoff wins. Matt Ryan's 35. He's not 39. Now, if I sign him for 5 years, the last year may be nonsense. I'll make a prediction. Matt Ryan with Arthur Smith, the coach, is going to have 2 really good years. He finally gets an offensive coach. We're all going to like Matt Ryan by November again. I know we're all out on Matt. Watch by November. We're all going to be back in the Matt Ryan fan club.
Baker Mayfield or Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray. Again, Kyler does some things spectacularly. He's not there yet, but he had a big jump rookie year to last year.
Baker Mayfield or Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott. Baker's a better pure thrower of the football. I think Dak's a better athlete. I think he's more mature. I feel there is sort of in the locker room, he's loved by everybody. I think Baker's got some critics inside that locker room.
Baker Mayfield or Ryan Tannehill?
Close, but I saw a stat. Let me give you this. Ryan Tannehill had the second highest passer rating in the last 20 games to Aaron Rodgers. I know we all don't like Ryan Tannehill, but unlike Baker, he doesn't have 2 great tight ends. He doesn't have the greatest offensive line. Ryan Tannehill, I got to be honest with you, often plays trailing because of that crappy defense. Tannehill's probably the most underrated quarterback in the league today.
Baker or Kirk Cousins?
Close. I would take the maturity and the accuracy of Kirk Cousins. I don't think there's a huge gap. Kirk drives me nuts in big games, but Baker doesn't have a history of winning a lot of big games either.
All right, now that gets interesting. Baker or Tua?
I'd take Baker. I don't know if Tua can play. I don't see a lot of special with Tua. I think the Dolphins have questions. I think Baker's got a little more it factor.
Baker or Joe Burrow?
I think Burrow's really special. I thought Burrow would be a good NFL quarterback. I think I made a mistake. I think he's really, really special.
Baker or Carson Wentz?
Carson's a much bigger, stronger, better athlete. This moment, a lot of people would go Baker, but I guess my takeaway is the only thing that scares people about Wentz is his contract. Everybody knows he was an MVP for 10 weeks 2 years ago. He was literally, when he had Frank Reich, the MVP of the entire league.
Baker or Jared Goff?
I'd take Baker. I think Baker 5 years with Kevin Stefanski will be better than Goff 5 years with Fred Flintstone in Detroit.
Baker or Big Ben?
I take Baker. I'm out on Big Ben. And I think Baker works harder than Ben. I would move off Big Ben, so I take Baker.
Baker or Matthew Stafford?
I think Stafford's a much better talent. Yeah. You know, Stafford has a stat. I saw this. Let me look this one up. Stafford has the most game-winning drives, 36 in the NFL in the last decade. How? He plays for the Lions.
They're usually trailing.
Yeah.
Baker or Mitchell Trubisky?
Baker. Mitch Trubisky's a very limited thrower. I think Baker can make big-time throws. There's things I worry about Baker. He's not the athlete he thinks he is, but he makes big-time throws, and I think Trubisky's limited as a thrower of the football.
All right, here's the big question. Next 5 years, Baker or the GOAT?
Tom Brady. First of all, Tom Brady will be great next year.
Right.
And you imagine because of his work ethic, he'll be good the following two. I couldn't give a rip the last two. If Brady gives me 3 more years, 1 A-, 2 B+, do we know that Baker's going to get a contract extension in Cleveland? We don't.
So you would take Baker over Trubisky, Big Ben, Jared Goff, and Tua.
Is that unrealistic? Am I like being ridiculous?
No, I don't think you are. I mean, I think a lot of people would go either way on the Carson Wentz or Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, Carson's a fortune, and he played. I get it. But I'm saying if you gave me both, I think the upside's much higher with Wentz.
Right.
I'm willing to roll the dice on the Jimmy Garoppolo injury, although I get it. The arguments.
Yes, people would argue about Jimmy Garoppolo.
I get it. But I got 1 year starting, and the kid got to the Super Bowl and led Patrick Mahomes with 7 minutes to go.
No, I mean, the idea that Baker Mayfield is in the top 6 best
silly.
quarterbacks in the league is silly. Yes.
I don't like being known as, and I almost regret doing this segment because now everybody's going to think, oh, Colin, you're doing. I think you have almost no arguments with any of those. The Wentz thing, I get. Because the last 10 games we've seen of Carson Wentz, he can't complete screen passes. Like, I get that. But I'm saying 5 years, I think if he turns around, I get a B+, A- quarterback. Drew Bledsoe's now going to join us live. 14 years in the NFL, number 1 draft pick. Isn't it the worst when you play quarterback, schmucks like me come out and grade you all the time? It's just a horrible league. What if Drew Bledsoe sat around all day and graded sportscasters? It'd be terrible.
Oh man, it would be rough for you guys, dude. It'd be really rough. I might try. I might try it. Actually, there was a time some buddies and I sat on you like, we should do that one time. And I obviously can't share with you on air. You did all right, bud. You came out okay. But some of your cohorts, man, we had some interesting things to say. It was pretty funny.
Hopefully you were drinking your double back wine that made the night better. So let me
definitely.
Let me start with this. We saw another story with Russell Wilson come out, and I defended quarterbacks today. I said, we love our soccer stars and our UFC boxers and our home run hitters and our NBA stars. We give them a little ego. You're the best in the world. But if a quarterback shows he doesn't want to be in your little box, the Packers are drafting Jordan Love and the Seahawks want to move him. Did you ever feel in the NFL sometimes a little restrained by the ecosystem of the NFL?
There's no question, Colin. As a quarterback, you're part of your job is to be a politician. You have to learn how to say a lot without saying anything. And the minute that you express, a real opinion, man, you're just criticized, up and down, left and right. And so, look, as a quarterback of Russell's stature, I think part of what's going on, people asked if you wanted some input on player decisions. And, shoot, they asked me about player decisions. They asked the quarterback about player decisions. You just can't admit that they actually ask you about it. Then you set yourself up. Then you set yourself up to be criticized. Well, that player didn't work out and Russ picked him. Well, no, you don't want that either. So it's a hard line to walk. You've got to try to do the right thing all the time, and then sometimes when you do the right thing, you get criticized for that. So it's part of the game. That's it's one of the reasons that quarterbacks make a ton of money. It's just you have these other responsibilities that other players don't have.
Yeah, I like how you said that. You got to be a little bit of a politician. So Dak Prescott is, whether you love him or not, it's been 2 years where we've talked contract and he hasn't gotten a contract. And I'll be honest with you. I try to sometimes put myself in the athlete's perspective. If I was hanging out there for 2 years and my company wouldn't offer me a contract, at some point, I think there'd